from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Thank you for joining us this Sunday night. I'm Amanda Starrentino. It was 14 weeks later than planned and no fans in the stands. But 33 drivers still lined up for the green flag today. The Indianapolis 500 once again had its share of drama. Dave First and Brad Brown start our team coverage of race day from inside the Speedway.
A most unusual race day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it was all done. They ran most of the 200 laps. They finished 200 laps.
They finished 200 laps. That's all that matters. Heck, most races, they finished 101.
I know. Well, we're happy with that. But at the end, there's a wreath in the milk and kissing the bricks for TAKUMA SATO, the second time in 4 years, the Indy 500 champ. Brad Brown, Dave First here with you. The first thing I want to ask you about is just, you had a chance to be in it for this race for so many years, to be in it empty today. There was just a certain different feeling. We knew it would be, but how was it when the race got going down there?
I got stuff up on Twitter and Facebook, some shots that I took from the front of the grid, and there was only a crewman per car, drivers in, and then you look around and no one in the stands. Here come the Thunderbirds, which were awesome.
Fantastic.
But I'm thinking, man, it'd be cool, 300,000 people here to see that. Jim Cornelison singing, the sound's literally bouncing off the empty grandstands here. It's just, hey, it is what it is, but it sucked.
I know, kind of, yeah. It just did not have, this wasn't the race day that we all kind of grown to know and love.
Right.
Kind of like that.
But once you fire up the engines, literally full speed ahead.
That's it, time to go. Fire up the engines, let's do it. The new boss in charge got us started here on race day.
We'll be back home in Indiana in 2021. Be safe, have fun, drivers, start your engine!
Roger Penske giving the command to start engines for the first time, now chairman of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A cool moment at the front of the field. Mario Andretti driving the two-seater, Michael Andretti in the back seat. Marco Andretti starting on pole position, but when the green flag dropped, it was clear that Scott Dixon had maybe the best car of the day. Turn one, lap one. Dixon went to the lead and would dominate the first part of the race. First big wreck came on lap 93 on a restart. Connor Daly and Oliver Askew getting caught up in one another coming out of turn four. A messy wreck down there. Askew walked away with a bit of an injury to his knee. Daly's day was done early. Lap 103, Alexander Rossi starts to make his bid for best of the day, taking the lead over Dixon just past the halfway point. But a strange day for Rossi after that. Coming out of the pits, makes contact with TAKUMA SATO. A penalty would move Rossi back to 23rd, making his way back through the field. But then this wreck on lap 144 put him in the wall, and a strong contender's day was done early. Move ahead in action to lap 158. Dixon continued to dominate, but here comes TAKUMA SATO making a pass on the front stretch to the inside and to the lead. Sato's car is very best of the day at that juncture. Those two would battle back and forth for 35 laps. And then on lap number 194, 6 to go, Spencer Pigot with this nasty accident into the wall in turn 4 would T-bone the safety barrier on the top of the pit lane attenuator. That brought out a final yellow flag. IndyCar was unable to make final repairs to that pit safety barrier, and so the race would finish under caution. Sato just ahead of Scott Dixon and Graham Rahal, his second Indy 500 championship, and another win for the Rahal Letterman Lanigan racing team. When we started with you earlier this morning, you talked a lot about the team. What is it like to share this experience with the 30 guys, as you've said, to get this done today?
Amazing. Simply amazing organization. You know, the 30 boys, no doubt about, but the entire Rahal Letterman Lanigan racing, you know. I mean, Graham had a great shot too. I mean, I know he's not happy because I won, but as a teammate, you know, he's such a great guy.
When you passed Scott on lap 158 for the lead, tell me about that battle over the next 35 laps with him in your rearview mirror the whole time.
Yeah, that's good actually. It's so cool because actually Scott was everyone's target entire weeks. You know, he looked strong in the practice. He looked obviously very strong in qualifying. In fact, he was the most trimmed guy to be able to go in that speed with that trimmed car. Probably I wouldn't be able to do that. But I think we strategically working for how can we be consistent, and that is the key.
The first one here for you had a very distinct feeling in getting that Indy win finally. How does this second one feel a couple hours afterwards now that you've had a chance to soak it in a bit?
Still unbelievable. Still honestly speechless how lucky I am Obviously, first one, I was just all I could was shouting, right? Neither of the English or Japanese came out of my mouth. But today, I was a little more calm and thanking to the team. But what an unbelievable moment. I was full of tears in the car, and it was just so emotional. You know, it was obviously a pity I couldn't share with the fans here, 300,000 people, but I know the millions of people really, I hope, they enjoyed the race. And no, this is what an amazing moment. I'm so lucky that, Bobby and Mike Lanigan and David Letterman gave me so much opportunity.
One of the veterans gets it done today, and I'll tell you, as many great champions as we've had around here, Takuma Sato is a guy I think who appreciates what this means as much as anyone.
Yeah, he loves this place and has loved it, and no attack, no chance. That's his motto, and he went for it once again. I can only imagine, though, tonight, Saki and Sato, that's the formula for success, wherever they are.
That sounds good to us, indeed.
It does.
Great. It's been a pleasure bringing you all the coverage here over the course of the last 12 days that you couldn't be here, but we could. Thanks for sharing the time here. And hey, listen, by next May, let's hope this all pans out and we can invite some friends to the party.
105th Indianapolis 500. Yeah, I got a bunch of friends that would like to show up next year.
Yeah. We'll be here for it. For day first, I'm Brad Brown at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, WRTV trackside. We'll see you soon.
And fans, as the guy said, could not pack the stands today, but that did not stop the energy of the race from flowing around the speedway. WRTV's Troy Washington shows us the highlights from a race day like no other.
The flyover really draws you in. It lets you know the race is about to begin.
We got back together. We got remarried in 2014. Our son's in the Air Force, so we came out for the flyover for the Air Force.
500, baby! Maybe it's the allure of it all. For decades, the makers have come out for race day. For them, it's the electricity that flows through IMS. It keeps them coming back.
The crowd, the excitement.
For others, it's spending the entire day at IMS for the 500. It all just draws you in. This year, even though these stands are empty and it's August instead of May, fans still aren't far away.
I brought my son. It's starting at 3 years old, and he's been here 22. I came from Kansas City. My son came from Nashville, so we had to do it.
Of course, the gates never opened to fans, but they were ready and waiting just in case a miracle happened.
This is my ticket, just in case. They open the gates and say, come on in.
Since we can't go in, we're just riding around. So this is her second year, 20-some years of going, and who knows how long my mom and dad have been coming. But yeah, hopefully I can get her going every year with us.
This year is for sure a race day diehard fans will never forget. And now it's clear nothing will stop fans from supporting, not even a pandemic. Working for you in Speedway, Troy Washington, WRTV.
And many Indianapolis 500 enthusiasts have decades-long streaks of going to the race in person, and the pandemic seemingly ended those streaks because no fans were allowed to attend today's 500. But Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Doug Bowles issued a decree this weekend to allow fans to continue their attendance records anyway. Here's how it works. If you watched or listened to today's Indianapolis 500 and you return in person for the race in 2021, Bowles says your personal streak of attending the race will remain intact. You can read the entire proclamation from Bowles himself. It's up in this story on our website at WRTV.com. And the town of Speedway is buzzing today, not just with the sights and sounds of the race, but also booming with business. Fans are finding their way down Main Street to eat while taking in the atmosphere of race day. And WRTV talked to a business owner who is just thrilled to see that fans are still coming out despite the race being fanless this year.
It's been nice. It feels like a race day, which it is. And we're excited for this day. We're expecting this day. I hope we get more people. We have live music, good food. We don't usually open on Sundays, but we're open just for the fans and for Indy 500, guys.
And we talked to a few other business owners who say they expect that business will keep coming all night as fans look for someplace to celebrate race day. And Kyle, we did luck out with the weather. I know there was a chance that it might rain, but
Yeah, we had just a couple of isolated showers out there earlier today. None of them made their way into the track. All's now very quiet and no big cleanup tomorrow, of course, with the stands being empty this year. We made it to 87 degrees this afternoon for the second day in a row. Right now we sit at 75 in the Circle City. There's that south breeze between 5 and 10 miles per hour, and that will keep temperatures up tonight also, along with some partly cloudy skies. As we look around central Indiana, we do find those temperatures in the 70s and even 74 in Bloomington, while it's 78 in Lafayette and 74 in Richmond. Satellite and radar, it is all very quiet now, and I think it will stay that way here as we go into tomorrow morning. For kids at the bus stop, no need for the jacket or umbrella. A temperature at 70 degrees, 87 as they head home. Coming up in a few minutes, high humidity. We'll talk about that tropical feel this week, the first 90s of August, and how some tropical systems could bring us some rain.
And we have breaking news from Washington, D.C. Kellyanne Conway, a senior advisor to President Trump and one of his longest-serving aides, is leaving the White House at the end of the month. Conway was Trump's third campaign manager in 2016 and the first woman to successfully manage a presidential campaign to victory. She joined the White House at the start of Trump's term and has been one of his most visible and vocal defenders. Conway informed Trump of her decision tonight in the Oval Office. Butler University officials have taken notice of what students are doing and not doing, and it's prompting a change for the start of the fall semester. That story coming up. A woman is dead after her vehicle collided with an Indianapolis fire truck. The crash happened just before 11 this morning at the intersection of Shelby Street and Southern Avenue. The fire truck was responding to a house fire. A 71-year-old woman driving a silver SUV struck the fire truck, then slid 100 feet before stopping. She died at the hospital. Her name has not been released, and investigators are trying to figure out what led to the collision. And Butler University undergraduate students will start the first 2 weeks of the fall semester remotely. The school made that announcement earlier today. Butler says it is concerned over a lack of compliance from students in following COVID-19 safety guidelines. The university says it has identified 75 students who have been in close contact with people who are positive for COVID-19. Due to this, they predict the number of students with the virus to rise. And today, the state health department reported 2 more COVID-19 deaths. More than 3,000 Hoosiers have died from the virus, and more than 85,000 have tested positive. More than 977,000 people have been tested in Indiana, with 8.8% testing positive. The eviction moratorium is officially expired, and Hoosiers are already being faced with eviction warnings. WRTV's Stephanie Wade speaks with a woman in fear she'll be kicked out of her home and has an expert's advice if you are in this situation.
Jordan McKinney was laid off from her job in March because of COVID. She says she didn't qualify for unemployment benefits because she just started working there in February. With a 17-month-old daughter and falling behind in rent, plus being charged late fees on top of that. She tried working out a payment plan with her rental company.
Whenever I got the letter, I called the next day and I talked to them about it. And I said, is there any way that I could pay $100 or more a week? And they said they was okay with that. The girl said she was going to put it in the system. And like I said, whenever I called yesterday, they said nobody put it in the system.
Her rental company informed her they already began the pre-filing eviction process. And she had until August 31st to pay everything she owes in full, or she'd be kicked out. Andrew Bradley with Prosperity Indiana says housing needs have been the top request to the Indiana 211 portal. Court data showing eviction filings are increasing. He recommends McKinney reach back out to her landlord in writing to demonstrate she's trying to make a payment plan. Also, reach out to her township trustee's office in writing and at least get on the wait list through the city's rental assistance program through indyrent.org so she can prove she has been asking for help and willing to pay. Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
And we also connected her with groups willing to help with the rent. We have those same resources for you on our website right now at WRTV.com.
Well, the heat is going to be building here as we go through the next few days. And out there tonight, it's a little on the stuffy side. We're at 75 in Indy, 78 for you in Lafayette and Bloomington with mostly clear skies and a calm wind sitting at 70 degrees. Tonight will only slide back upper to middle 60s across central Indiana. 69 in the city and Muncie. 68 is where you'll start off your Monday morning in the Bloomington and Lafayette areas. And as we plan out our Monday here, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. Temperatures that warm pretty quickly here for the lunch hour. We're talking about numbers that are going to be in the lower 80s for you, and we'll get into the upper half of the 80s. Some areas may even touch that 90-degree mark tomorrow afternoon. Winds should be fairly light for us as well. We look at TrueCast, and there's just an isolated shower chance, pretty much like today, only about 10 to 20%. This is TrueCast. As we get into the early afternoon at 1 o'clock, you can see an increase in clouds there, and then again, just a little bit of green showing up on the map here or there, mainly again favoring the eastern half of central Indiana. If you do see some rain, it's not going to add up to much or last very long for you. Your high temperature right around 90 degrees in Columbus, Lafayette, Bloomington, 89 in Indy, Muncie, and 88 in Peru. But even if you don't get to 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon, it's going to feel like the lower half of the 90s because the humidity will take that up another notch here. So we will have that tropical feel in the air, and then we take the temperatures up a notch here Tuesday and Wednesday with a high of 93 both days, near records but not quite into record territory there, and then 88 degrees on Thursday as we get a chance for some rain. The tropics are active, a couple of tropical storms out there, and this one, Laura, may actually impact our weather a little bit here as we go toward the end of the week. This is TrueCast, 7 a.m. on Thursday morning. Here's Laura coming on shore. Ahead of that, we may have some showers here that develop throughout the day on Thursday, but then as a cold front and the remnants of that tropical system come together on Friday, could be seeing some fairly widespread rain across the area and a few thunderstorms as well. Something to watch for the next few days. Here's a look at that 7-day planning forecast, though, where the heat will take center stage through the middle of the week, and then as those rain chances increase, temperatures come down, should feel much better heading into the weekend with highs in the lower 80s. Amanda?
Thanks, Kyle. On the eve of the Republican National Convention, we are learning more about a secretly recorded tape of President Trump's sister, where she allegedly calls him a liar and a phony. The latest coming up next. Twitter is giving one of President Trump's latest tweets a rules violation notice. Twitter gave the tweet a public interest notice label for, quote, misleading health claims that could potentially dissuade people from participation in voting, end quote. Trump claimed in posts on Twitter and Facebook today that mail drop boxes for voting are not COVID sanitized, as well as a voter security disaster. The tweet also carries a security notice saying this tweet violated the Twitter rules about civic and election integrity. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain accessible. And on the eve of the Republican convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Trump administration is reacting to tapes secretly recorded by President Trump's niece, in which the president's sister allegedly can be heard criticizing her brothers. Here's ABC's Alex Prochet with the details.
In audio obtained by the Washington Post, President Trump's sister, Maryanne Trump Barry, allegedly says the president cannot be trusted, that her brother has no principles, none.
It's the change of stories, the lack of preparation, the lying, the holy what they're doing with the kids at the border.
Describing him as a phony and a liar who only cares about himself.
Donald's out for Donald, period.
At another point saying, it's the phoniness and this cruelty. Donald is cruel. Barry, a retired federal judge and the eldest sister of the president, has never spoken out publicly against her brother and did not respond to ABC News' request for comment. In a statement to ABC News, President Trump responding saying, in part, every day it's something else. Who cares? I'll continue to work hard for the American people. The reported 15 hours of conversation have not been verified by ABC News. The Post reports it was secretly recorded in 2018 and 2019 by the president's niece, Mary Trump, who recently published a book about President Trump. In a statement, a spokesperson for Mary Trump says she felt it prudent to tape conversations in order to protect herself, anticipating litigation over a family inheritance dispute. At a White House briefing, President Trump looking to shift the focus to the coronavirus pandemic, announcing the FDA's emergency use authorization for convalescent plasma.
Based on the science and the data, The FDA has made the independent determination that the treatment is safe and very effective.
We saw about a 35% better survival in the patients who benefited most from the treatment. This is a major advance in the treatment of patients.
The president's 2020 rivals, former Vice President Joe Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris, sat down with ABC's Robin Roberts and David Muir for their first joint interview since accepting the Democratic nomination.
Did you feel pressure to select a black woman?
The government should look like the people, look like the country. 51% of the people in this country are women.
Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
And this recall alert, more than 52,000 Hasbro water guns sold at Target are being recalled due to lead concerns. The guns in question are the Super Soaker XP20 and the Super Soaker XP30. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the decorative sticker on the water tank of the toys have lead levels in the ink that exceed the federal lead content ban. Hasbro says the manufacturer got the stickers from an unauthorized supplier without Hasbro's consent. Lead exposure in kids can lead to behavioral disorders and other health effects and is toxic if ingested. The commission says no injuries have been reported. The age of the smartphone does not appear to be helping students in the classroom. A study out of Rutgers found the ability to quickly look up answers online hurts a student's ability to remember the information. Researchers used info from more than 2,400 students over an 11-year period. They found in 2008 only 14% of students scored lower on tests than homework. In 2017, that number jumped to 55%. Eating a vegetarian diet might help protect you from having a stroke. A group of 1,400 vegetarians and 3,500 non-vegetarians were followed for 6 years. In that time, the vegetarians suffered 3 strokes, while non-vegetarians suffered 28. Researchers then followed a larger group for 9 years and found non-vegetarians suffered 4 times as many strokes as vegetarians. The average age of all participants was 50. Researchers defined a vegetarian for the study as someone who did not eat meat or fish. And a little honey might help fight off a sore throat and other ailments just as well or better than antibiotics. Scientists reviewed more than 1,700 cases. They found honey helped fight off symptoms of sore throat, cough, and runny noses. In some cases, doctors found honey reduced symptoms by a day or 2. They say honey can be a helpful alternative because it is less expensive than most medications readily available and has little or no side effects. They do remind people that honey should not be given to children under 1 year old. Lounging on a pool will no longer be just a dream for people with sun allergies. You are looking at a blow-up bathing suit. It is made from latex sheeting that has 3 valves that allows you to inflate and deflate yourself. As you can see, the all-white design is broken up by the shape of a black bathing suit which wraps around the body. The suit is part of a wider sun allergy collection. The design is very personal to the designer, a Spanish artist called CG. The artist has been allergic to the sun since childhood. Interesting stuff. We'll be right back. An unprecedented year due to COVID-19 forced one man to find a tree view to watch the 500. Joe Malia from Chicago watched the Indy 500 with his sons perched in a tree. Joe did not want to miss the race. He paid for the building of the deck by outside of turn 3. He says thanks to some of the new jumbo monitors, he can enjoy the race. His skybox seating has drawn national attention.
Yeah, my phone is blowing up, so I imagine there's people smiling. I know it makes me smile for sure. The world's a wreck right now, and if we could do anything to make it happy, this is the place to do it.
And a treehouse is what makes him happy. Joe says he looks forward to returning to his seats in 2021, but he says it's good to have a plan B.
Those temperatures up and away here the next few days. We've got highs in the 90s by Tuesday.